Welcome to the Bronze Age Monsters bonus show. This is a show we make each and every week for our loyal patrons. We watch a movie, we talk about other stuff that is paired with the comic we read. This week we read Strange Tales 177. That was the final appearance of the golem. So Matt, you chose the X-Files episode that deals with the golem. I think it's 4th season. And right. And it's called Kaddish. And it is we watched it on our watch along on Discord. And yeah, it was really cool. It was very cool to talk about an X-Files episode, and it was very cool and weird to talk about something that was competently done and had competent actors, and it was kind of a professional affair, which I realized it's been a while since we watched one of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting that we did experience a little bit of whiplash because, you know, normally we're just riffing on stuff. It's funny. We're making fun of how, you know, stupid it is. And yeah, you know, you don't necessarily, there's not as much material in something that is, you know, competently done like that. Also, not sure you want to crack jokes during a lot of the content of this episode. So yeah, it was a solemn watching affair, but we had a good time. It was our friend Letty's first X-Files that she ever watched. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, like you were saying, it was a pretty quiet watch along because not a lot of fodder for wisecracks and stuff.
No,
not that that's what we're there for. I mean, we're there to watch something together, but we've watched some pretty wild stuff, and we're typically used to things being a little goofier. And yeah, so let's talk about this episode a bit. I wasn't there because we've had winter storms, and so my power was knocked out for about 5 hours that night. And so you stepped in and hosted for me. I watched it the next day, and I was watching X-Files at this point in my life.
Yeah,
I remember vividly, like the first maybe season or two I did not watch, and then I heard one of my college roommates talking about Tombs, that episode describing that to me. I was like, okay, maybe I need to check this out. And then I rented, they used to release them on 2 episodes per VHS tape.
That's right.
And I started renting those with my girlfriend at the time, and then I was totally obsessed with it. And that would have been like 95. Mm-hmm. So probably season 3, I think, is when I started watching, like while it was airing, like being current. Mm-hmm. So I'd caught up. So I definitely, like, I know like exactly where I was in my life when this episode aired. And like, I was just getting ready to move from Eugene down to Coos Bay before I moved up to Seattle to play music and blah, blah, blah. So I know I was watching. I don't remember watching this one though.
I remember watching this one. I mean, I have pretty fond memories of, like you, 3rd and 4th season. I think I came on in 2nd or maybe at the end of 1st and just, you know, kind of stuck with it. And I think, you know, 3rd and 4th season, it really kind of gets its stride and becomes kind of the show. Like you said before, you know, I feel like at the time, the like sequential story, the long-term storytelling in it of the, you know, secret cabal of guys and the aliens, and now it's black oil, and now it's all that other stuff. I think that was, yeah, check. I think it was fun at the time. I did really like it at the time. But yeah, I feel on rewatch on a lot of these, I'm more interested in the monster of the week, which is funny because, you know, they didn't want to do that as much, but the ones, they're just really, really well done, and they're good, and they're standalone. You know, you can just, that was what it was good. It was a good first episode for Letty because it's a, you know, it's a one and done. You know, you can just go in and you're just like, oh, that's Scully, that's Mulder. He believes in weird shit, she doesn't. Here you go. Yeah. And that was all you needed. And it was really good. And it was a really cool episode. Yeah, I mean, just I guess broad strokes. So a young man is murdered. He's pretty much hate crimed by these 3 little Nazis. I mean, they are Nazis basically, and so he's murdered and buried. And we see a little bit, like it was weird. This is a strange one in a lot of ways because we kind of see, you know, him being made of clay on the grave, but I've never seen a golem that looks exactly like someone else.
Yeah.
That was weird. There's some weird changes in here.
Mhm.
And, yeah, so it just ends up that, these people that murdered this man are being murdered themselves. And so they suspect, this rabbi. And yeah, I mean, I think, I don't want to spoil too much because I think it is worth watching. And it's pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, it's really cool. And it's a very, I don't know, it's a very different take on the golem. And I think it's really fits in with our issue because at the end they talked about, that the golem was driven by love and was driven by love for people who were his family. And that's a huge theme in this X-Files episode. So I thought the pairing was perfect.
Yeah, that was accidental, but yeah, it was a nice coincidence for sure.
Yeah, it was.
So the murdered man was to be married to this character. His name was like Ariel. And I was distracted the entire time I was rewatching it because I was just thinking that she's also in a, do you know that Seinfeld episode that's it's called The Betrayal, but it's all told backwards about a wedding in India, and it's told like Memento, where it just keeps jumping back like 5 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier, one day earlier, and the story unfolds in backwards order. It's a really great episode, but she plays this woman, Nina, that dated Jerry in the past, but they never went all the way, never whatever. And then George starts dating her, and anyway, she's in this very, very good episode of Seinfeld, and like within like a year of this. So I was just kept thinking that's Nina, that's Nina, that's Nina, that's Nina the whole time. So that was confusing to me. I have mixed feelings about this one. This kind of, in many ways, X-Files to me is a frustrating series as a whole, especially going back, like you're saying, in the zeitgeist, like in the time and everything. Like it was definitely a cool thing culturally. I walked away very frustrated with the last like several seasons because the stars had left and been replaced by other people, and it was just whatever. And I believe the alien stuff we're talking about is called our Myth Arc episodes, I think was what the fans call them.
Weird.
I didn't care for those much at all, and they make up about almost half of the run. At least. Then so you're left with Freak of the Week, Monster of the Week episodes. And those are, there's a stable of writers, there's some really talented writers and stuff like that. But for me, it was a coin toss every Sunday night after The Simpsons. And I forgot what the lineup was. Simpsons, some Futurama, and then X-Files or something like that.
Yep.
And it was always a toss up. Like, is this going to be a good one? Or is this going to be about a fucking computer virus taking over an apartment building and killing its tenants? Like, there's ones where it's just like, God damn it, this is what this is.
Yeah.
Like, so I actually dislike quite a few X-Files episodes. So for me, the ones that really stand out and are really good are what I think of as X-Files, as a platonic ideal of an X-Files episode. And there are actually not that many of them. Like we were talking about Bad Blood that has Luke Wilson in it. That one's really funny. The funnier ones always stand out to me. And the ones that really genuinely got under my skin. There's one from this season, I believe, episode 2 of this season called Home, about these breads. That fucking freaked me out for a long time.
Well, that was the only episode of the X-Files that was preceded with a disclaimer. They stuck a disclaimer at the beginning of that one because it's so goddamn disturbing. And like the crazy inbred person, like mom that rolls out from under the bed. It's one of the scariest things that's ever been on network television.
It just still makes me shudder. Like,
it's fucking scary.
Yeah. And there's one called Folie à Deux about this guy who sees this people as like insect people, and he has these delusions, and then Mulder gets pulled in and he can't tell if he's getting affected by the delusion idea. And there's one where they're all in a fungus in the forest and they're hallucinating. Like there's ones where it's like I remember them vividly, and there's just a ton of them where it's like just it filled a Sunday night at 9:00.
Yep.
And for me, this is kind of one of those ones. Like I like the idea of the golem. I like some of the things they did with the folklore and stuff like that. But I don't know, like this to me was like all of the things I typically don't like. Like, it's supposed to be in, Park Slope or Williamsburg or something, and it's clearly Victoria or Vancouver, BC. Like I know they had to film there for tax breaks and whatever, but like just it didn't look anything like New York, so that was just weird. And then some of the writing is a little broad for me, like the racist anti-Semite dude who like runs the print shop across the street, who's very clearly the bad guy. Like just some really broad. I forgot how broad the writing gets when they like we have 45 minutes, not including ads. Like we gotta move this along, you know. Like
Yep.
not a lot of time to dwell. So I actually didn't love this one.
Huh. All right.
So
I didn't love it. I did like it though. I thought there was enough cool character work from the rabbi and from Ariel that yeah, I don't know. I was drawn in a little bit by the story. I don't think it's not a traditional Golem story at all in a
No.
lot of ways, but yeah, I don't know. There was stuff I liked about it.
yeah, and I mentioned before I'm not a fan of Mark Snow's music for this thing, and this one he it starts with the funeral of the character Isaac, I think his name is, and yeah, Mark Snow has come up with a very cloying cliche klezmer kind of whatever like Yiddish song,
Yep.
and that plays throughout as a theme, and he play again he's got to do a weekly soundtrack. I get it, it's a lot of work, but I just really his music bugs the shit out of me anymore. So yeah, I didn't enjoy watching this one again at all.
All right. Well, claw up for me. I hope you have an antidote.
I do. I found something new for you, Jacob.
What?
Like Prometheus, I bring you fire. I found something. There was a pair of TV pilots that were made for mid-season replacements, and they aired them, and they did not get picked up. The first one was in 1977, and it was called The World of Darkness, and it's about a sports writer named Paul Taylor who gets into a motorcycle accident and dies on the operating table. And he comes back, much like the Dead Zone, with these abilities, and he can hear dead people speak to him. And much like the manga Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service, the dead reach out and ask him to help resolve these issues in their life. And so the first pilot episode was called The World of Darkness, and it was about this happening to him and then him being pulled to New England to resolve some spiritual issue. This, what I watched though today, was the second episode, the second pilot that again did not get picked up from 1978 called The World Beyond. And you can watch this on YouTube. You just search The World Beyond 1978 TV. And so this is his second case. Kind of picks up with a little recap of what goes on. And then this guy reaches out to him and says, protect my sister, blah, blah, blah. So he goes to Maine, gets on this boat, goes out to this island, and meets the sister on the way. And it's played by Jo Beth Williams from Poltergeist. And on the way out there, he realizes that that's the sister, and they go out to the shack. There's two people that live on this tiny island. It's like Nova Scotia or off Maine or something. And we come to find out that the dude with the shack has been, her brother dabbles in weird shit. He's got all this stuff out there, and he's missing, and it is a golem story set on a small island. It's got a tiny cast. So the dude that played the main character, Paul Taylor, was played by a guy named Granville Van Dusen. And I did not recognize him at all, but I looked him up, and he was essentially in one episode of every show in the 80s or 70s.
Awesome.
And then he was on like Dynasty and Falcon Crest and shit like that, and soap operas in the 90s.
Wow.
He's the main dude. Like I said, Jo Beth Williams, you'll recognize from Poltergeist. And then the crusty dude that lives on the island that they encounter is Barnard Hughes, which you will know better as Grandpa from Lost Boys and Dr. William Gibbs from Tron.
Awesome.
I love that guy.
He's great.
So it's a cast of 3, and they're out on an island, and it's very much like a Kolchak. And I read some stuff about this, and it seems like the one that if you watch it on YouTube, you guys should watch it. It's super fun. I bummed it didn't get picked up. It's not as good as the Norliss tapes. It's not as good as Kolchak, but it was entertaining and it had promise.
Yeah.
But it looks like, from what I can tell, like one person taped this or it got leaked from a station with the, no ad breaks in it. And it's been dubbed like 3 or 4 times or whatever. So it's a little soft. It's not as bad as The Mummy and The Curse of the Jackals, but It's a little soft. So I was watching it on a 65-inch TV, and it was kind of like a little bit like this. But I started watching it on my computer, and it was like fine. So
Yeah.
Anyway, you should check it out. That's my recommendation. I wish they would have made more, but they didn't.
Cool.
Yeah. Our next movie is going to be I forgot who this was. Somebody's recommended. We're kind of saying like, got a lot of Mummy to fill here coming up. Yeah. So what are we going to do? And you and I were saying, let's do a Universal sequel, maybe one of the Hammer ones, which we will get to. But what we're going to watch next is a Paul Naschy film.
Yes.
We watched a lot of Naschy in season 2 of this show. When we started doing the bonus show, we watched a werewolf movie every week. And we watched almost all of the Waldemar Daninsky werewolf movies that he starred in. So I'm super stoked to, he did tons of stuff. He did Satan stuff. He did witchcraft stuff. He did, Inquisition stuff. I mean, if there's a horror genre, he made a film for it. But we're watching what is translated to The Mummy's Revenge from 1975, starring Paul Naschy. And it's supposed to be a little on the sleazier side. It's Spanish. It's mid-70s. And they're doing a traditional monster, so you got to spice it up a little bit with some gore and some boobs, probably. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too.
I had a backup because I was having a hard time getting a hold of it, but it just downloaded while we were recording the episode tonight. So that is what we are watching for sure.
Oh, that's great.
Cool. So we're going to keep this short because we are producing another video for you folks, if you are a PAC member or a Star God, which is us seeing the true end of the Golem from Marvel Comics in Marvel 2-in-1 number 11, featuring the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. It's a match made in heaven, right? They probably have so much to talk about.
They do.
One of them to talk about.
Yancey Street.
Being Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
So please check that out. Otherwise, you're always welcome to join us. This Paul Naschy movie, Mummy's Revenge, this is not easily found online. I had to download this from the dark webs. So,
I'm stoked. Yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah,
if you've been wondering, if you've been saying, God, these guys talk about the Discord and the watch along and the blah, 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 this is the time to do it because you're not going to watch it anywhere else without probably buying a Paul Naschy box set from like Shout Factory or whatever, whoever's releasing those. So, they have been putting out nice Paul Naschy box sets. They've been pulling down all the YouTube stuff. So join us, please, won't you?
Yeah, we'd love to.
Yeah. And if you're wondering how to do that, in the Discord, in the show notes for our regular podcast episodes, there's always a link that's a forever link that doesn't expire. So hop on there and join us. Like we say before, we say all the time, you don't have to talk. You can just turn your camera off, your mic off, and just hang. We won't bug you. Watch a movie with us.
Yeah, it's super fun. So yeah, anyone that's watching this, definitely join the Discord because you'll love it.
Yes. Right on.
All right. Well, we kept it short. We'll keep the outro short. Matt, hail Satan.
Hail Satan. That's the bonus show. FYI.
Oh, yeah, it is. You're right.
For your tax purposes.